Hello and welcome back to the Hayden Show, where once again I am your standing host. Standing? Stand in. I'm not standing, I'm sitting down because she's still unwell, so I'm here instead. And this time I'm not going to forget this part, but we are obviously, of course, doing the live action Marvel pilots. See, I forgot that last time. And moaned at you for not reminding me. But yeah, we're doing the Marvel pilots. Obviously, last week I covered on her behalf, obviously, Runaways, because we had to skip Cloak and Dagger for a week. But hopefully, next week, she'll be back to do that one. Of course, we've got one more Hulu one to go in the Hulu duology. Would have been free, but of course, the Ghost Rider one never got fucking made. Fuck you, Hulu, for not getting that made. I wanted that Ghost Rider series. But yes, of course, we're doing Helstrom, the horror Marvel TV show, which, according to the internet, is a part of the MCU. Its own little story, and then it's also not a part of the MCU. It's one of those weird ones, like the Netflix ones, where it could be part of the MCU. Canonically, apparently it is, but then it's also probably not, because they'd probably want to ignore this. But who knows? Only Disney themselves so want to count this as Marvel or not Marvel. But yeah, so Helstrom is now, and Helstrom is a show that only lasted a series, unlike all the other ones that we've covered. I think pretty much everyone we've covered so far has had more than one. Blade, I think, is the only. Blade and Inhumans are the only two, I believe, that only had one series. I'm trying to remember the list here. Netflix ones all had two, apart from Defenders, but I'm not counting that because that was, team up ones. I'm not counting that. The ABC shows had more than one. I believe it's literally just those two that only had a single run. And this is another one that had a single run and got cancelled due to, negative reviews, and I also believe the merger of Fox at the time with Disney. I could be wrong, but I think it's probably more to do with reviews, because the reviews were pretty dire for this show. But when we finally got it over here, which was, I think, 2021, I think it came out 2020 in the US on Hulu, but it wasn't until Star, I believe, came out in the UK that they brought it out. Or was it just before Star? I can't remember. It came out at some point over here, and I actually really enjoyed the show. I thought the show was a decent horror series. A lot of gore in it compared to most Marvel things, which I'm up for. I'm up for that. I'm a horror guy. I like me gore. And the first episode is like that. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of swearing. Basically non-typical MCU stuff, which I like. It does, in tone-wise, definitely feel like the Netflix Marvel side. But at the same time, especially if it's gore, it seems pushed a bit further. Like, it's got that mature tone, while also still trying to sit itself within the wider MCU. Obviously, we'll probably never get these characters again, so it's kind of a one-shot wonder. Which is a shame, because it's a very interesting show, and the pilot definitely drew me in to want to see the rest of the series. So I think we got the first 2 episodes at launch over here, and then it was weekly, and it was one that I constantly watched as soon as it came out. I think there may have been one episode that I didn't get to watch till the following day, but most of the time I was watching it as soon as they were coming out, because this show was constantly hooking me in. And there's a lot of mystery within this first episode, obviously, with his mom being locked in the in this house, him and his sister apart. There's a lot of scenes where you see the flashbacks of them being taken apart, and you're like, okay, what's going on here properly? Who are these people? Because obviously it's I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Obviously the main character of the show, the male Helstrom. I'm just gonna call him male Helstrom just because I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Damien. Is it Damien? She has as well. I should have looked down. Of course, they called it Damien. Fucking Omen. Which would make sense, because the start of this episode does definitely. Well, not especially the start, but when you first meet Damien, or Damon, whatever you want to, whatever they pronounce his name. I think it might be Damon. I think it's Damien. I feel like that's a bit too copyright for this horror-esque. Because Damon's the. I'm gonna Google it if it is Damien or Damon. I'm just gonna quickly Google Helstrom. There's only one show called Helstrom. Yeah, it's Damien. I think you spelled it. Oh, you spelled it wrong on your notes. It's Dai. Damon. Oh, I'd say Damon more than Damien. How it's written down. Damon. Yeah. Whatever. His name's. I'll call him D. I'll call him Big D. Big D. When you first meet him, it kind of feels like The Exorcist. Both the movie and the TV series. It definitely feels like that. I mean, he is doing like an exorcism. That doesn't help. But I mean, the shot of the house makes it look like the fucking priest from The Exorcist walking to the door. You're just missing that fucking music in the background, the classic Exorcist theme. But yeah, obviously, then you also got his sister, which is obviously Anna, who is like further away. She's in San Francisco because she owns like an art gallery and stuff like that. She's the one who's got a lot more the money, whereas he's the one who's actually like knuckled down and become like essentially a teacher. So I like there's two different. They're separated and they're completely different, but at the end of the day, they both have different abilities. Obviously, she has some like ability where she can see people's basically sins. Essentially, as obviously Hayden put it when we was watching it, was a bit Ghost Rider-esque, and obviously then she sort of twist it and sort of hurt them internally, and then just have an easy kill, which she does in this when she pushes the guy off the edge. Whereas Damon can chant stuff and create fire, which is pretty cool. Again, she said Hayden kind of said he was a bit like Constantine in a way, with how he is in terms of I deal with exorcisms and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I mean, they're pretty interesting characters, and obviously you got a lot of side characters that do pop up in the first episode, which do get a bit more flushed out as the show goes along. So obviously, on her side there's two people, and on his side there's two people, and both get flushed out as the show goes along with who they're working for, who they actually properly are, and just like little details that give them a bit more, help them become intertwined with the plot a bit more, because there's not really heavily the plot focus in this episode. There's a lot of hints, but it's never actually fully like shown. Okay, this is where this is fully going. So there's obviously like a coffin underground which has like big fucking spider arms on it. Kind of reminds me of fucking Dead by Daylight. The spider creature when it comes down and gets you. Obviously there's that, and obviously there's like a skull in the middle of it with like no eye, and that is obviously a big part of this plot, which it's not fully shown in this. That could literally just be a side plot of the show, but obviously eventually that becomes something. So I do like that it's kept mysterious, which you kind of need. You don't want everything spoiled within the pilot. You want enough to make you go, okay, I'm going to come back next week and watch this episode. Or if it's there available now, which is on Disney Plus, you can go, okay, I'm going to binge watch the next few episodes maybe to see where this is going. And then if it's hooking me in even more as it goes along, then I'm going to actually sit through the rest of the show. So I do like that it doesn't give too much away, and it's very dark. So that's definitely up my alley. Trying to think of some other stuff here. Obviously, you've also got these basically nut house. I'm going to refer to it as this insane asylum, where obviously the woman who runs it technically helped raise Damon after obviously everything went down, and obviously there's a lot of personal stuff between them. So obviously it doesn't help that she's looking after his mom, who only speaks to him, and she's weird as well because she's possessed. That's why she's there. But of course, there's more to that as the show goes along and explains. But for now, it's like, okay, why is she in here? Why is she acting like this? And stuff like that. So I do like that. And obviously, the mysterious angle of who's this person she's referring to. Because obviously, they say, okay, where'd you send these guys? Oh, I sent them to see an old friend. Oh, who could that be? Obviously, it's towards the dad, but we don't know that yet. We don't get that reveal till, I want to say, midway through the show. It's quite later in the show that you start getting the father figure reveal and who he truly is. Obviously, the intro as well of the title screen, that's very cool because it's obviously a child's drawing, which makes sense. Obviously, it's showing you what basically went down for Damon in terms of him getting separated from his family, this dark presence always over him, and there's really like an old sort of like barbershop quartet type fucking song like do wop boo 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 wop boo boo, like stuff like that type of music. It's not actually that. It's an actual proper song, but it kind of reminds me of that. It's very like creepy. I don't know why. I don't think it's meant to be creepy, but it's kind of creepy because it doesn't fit the tone. But I like it, and I like the drawings. That's pretty cool. It's just a shame it never got past one series. So I definitely would have liked to have seen where this was going. Especially, believe it ends on a cliffhanger. The show overall. I mean, this episode ends on a cliffhanger because the death at the end from like a guy who's got half a face missing. But other than that, the whole show itself ends on a cliffhanger, which is upsetting. But it's definitely something to check out. It's definitely an interesting pilot, which is quite funny at times, especially with the kid at the start when it's revealed that he's not even fucking possessed. He's just been a dick. Which I love the bluntness of Damon. It's like, oh, your son's fine. No, he's basically he's not possessed. He's just an asshole. Because I love that with the whole. Oh, I got some holy water here from the Vatican itself. Starts doing his fucking obviously chanting. The kid's unpossessed. Oh wow, yeah. You see, this is from the toilet downstairs. This isn't holy water. Get out. No, you go out there, apologise, get some bleach, because you put shit all over these walls, literally. You've scrubbed shit on these walls. You're going to have to bleach these. And I just love the fact that his bluntness to the parents, like, oh, your kid's an asshole, let have to drink. See ya. I love it. It's funny. So yeah, okay. That's my thoughts. I've had to go a bit more. I can go a bit more on this, because I've actually seen the entire series, whereas Runaways last week, I've only seen series 1. And it's been a while, so I can actually say a bit more about Helstrom because it's up my alley. It's horror. It's what I like. Okay, so I'm going to read Hayden's notes to you right now. So, okay, she's put, it's very different to other Marvel shows. Agreed. With a more darker tone, with more gore than most. Again, agreed. It follows, obviously, Damon and Anna Helstrom as they both go through their own stories in the episode before coming together in the end, which they do because I love the first moment they re-see each other when it's like, tell me the bitch is dead. Referring to her mom, of course, because he has a bit more of a better relationship with his mom than she does, which is very obvious from the fact that she says, is the bitch dead? So, you know. The possessed mother is in a mental institute, and there's very mysterious air about it all. It is very mysterious, like what this place is and all that, how she can do what she can do. I mean, there's that cool scene where obviously the nun in training goes in, who's going to be a big part of the show, and basically gets confronted by her. They have to try and save her from the mom. The conversation between obviously Damon and the mom. They're choking each other out in a not kinky way before, just being thrown apart, which is cool. And she's apparently interested to see more on how this story develops. Also, special effects are pretty good in this. Obviously, it's a mixture of special and obviously practical effects. I'd say, the fire effect is pretty cool at the start when he creates the fire to scare the kid. When he's like, oh yeah, you're not possessed. This is possession. Da-dan! It's like he's showing off. He's like, oh, you think that's cool? Fuck you, dude. I can make fire. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's really cool. And her rating, her BS rating, which I'll get to now, she has given this 81 out of 10. So let's switch notes to my notes. Okay, so with that 81, this slots Helstrom straight into 9th position, right behind Runaways. But that's got obviously about 6 points ahead of it. It does then mean that the Incredible Hulk is knocked out of the hot seat into the relegation zone. The extended canon, I like to refer it to as for this show. And it does mean now that the Gifted sits in that hot seat before next week's Runaways. Cloak and Dagger. It'd be very interesting if she goes above 80 with that one, because obviously if she doesn't, it'd be the first one that's instantly gone into the relegation zone or the extended canon. It's like a football table at the moment, the relegation zone. Okay, so that's very interesting. Okay, so my question. Obviously Doctor Strange delved into it a little bit. But would you like to see more horror in the MCU, like something a bit more spookier like this? Because there's a lot they could do. Ghost Rider is a heavy one. Blade obviously is going to happen, so I'm hoping that's quite full-on horror like the old ones. I don't mind a bit of action here and a bit of comedy, but I would be interested to see that more dark and mature tone in that. But obviously there's a lot of other characters that could be brought forward. Morbius was brought forward in the Sony universe. But there's a lot of other ones that could get this dark tone, because I do like a good dark superhero story. Samaritan was a good example. Sylvester Stallone, non-MCU, non-DC fucking superhero movie. That was pretty cool, and I like the dark tone of it. So would you like to see a more horror-focused MCU story on top of the ones we've already been told we're getting? So We're Up by Night and Blade are the two that I know to. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but would you like more than just those two? Because I do feel like Doctor Strange missed out on that opportunity, because, you know, they had a horror director at the helm. They had two horror directors at the helm. They had Scott Derrickson, who then left because obviously he didn't like the way they were trying to push the movie. And he had fucking Sam Raimi. The two horror directors, they missed out an opportunity of being a bit more spooky with that movie. So, you know, so that's my big criticism with that film. So would you like to see more horror in the MCU? Okay, so that is it for the Hayden show this week. Hopefully she should be back next week. Because next week we'll actually be moving on to the Cloak and Dagger, the non-linked, it's linked to Runaways, but I mean in terms of channel it's on, it's not actually on any of the other channels. It's its own little channel. So I should be able to get my hands on that for that, and hopefully she'll be back to actually do that one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. A bit more of a rant, a bit more talking this time than the last one, because I actually know this show. That's good. And now, well, hopefully we will see you next week. So, till next time. If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And, well, I'll see you on the next video.